Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't met me before, my name is Christy. I have been travelling our beautiful country Australia for the last 4 years, just over 4 years, in my van Gypsy. And today's video is going to be talking about solo travel, and in particular as a female, because that's the point of view that I have, but it will still be relevant to males or non-gender. So yeah, let's get into talking about, the financial side of it, the emotional side of it, the physical side of it, the ups, the downs, in the hope that it might help you along your journey too. So let's start off by getting into the personal side of it, the emotional side of solo van life. And I will preface this just by saying, for those of you that don't know me, I did start van life just over 4 years ago, and I was on my own then. So I didn't have a partner. My daughter is an adult. She's off doing her own thing. So I was free to go and live the life. And I had done it before for a couple of months in Canada. So I knew it was something I really wanted to do. And I just wasn't going to wait for somebody else to join me. I knew it was calling me, and I just wanted to get out there and start. And I am one of those people that once I set my mind on something, I want it done yesterday. So I am pretty driven, and even though I still feel fear, but I will always just try and push through that fear when it's something that I really want to achieve in life. So that's my personality type. So first of all, when you travel alone, there's a lot of mental load when you're living a life that you're constantly trying to think about where you're going to sleep that night, where you're going to fill up your water, you're worrying about your power usage, food, all of those different things, your safety. So you're taking on that mental load yourself. You don't have anybody else there with you to help you in making those decisions. And I did have a few followers. I posted a video earlier this year because I was really feeling that mental load. Because I'd had a number of different things happen to me earlier in the year that were on top of all of those day-to-day things, and it just compiled for me. And I did have a few of you say that decision-making process, it really is a mental load, and I hadn't really thought about that a lot myself until a few of you pointed that out. And it's so valid, because I think that you don't really think so much about how that will affect you. And don't get me wrong, like when you live in a van, there's a lot of things that you don't have to do as well. So it's a lot smaller space to clean. You don't have to worry about gardening. There's a lot of bills you don't have to pay, so you don't have to work as hard to pay for those things. So, there is a bit of a trade-off there. But when it's the small things that are on a day-to-day basis, it can get a bit, overwhelming and taxing on your nervous system. But on the flip side of that, I can also be in so much peace. So when I'm in places like this is one of my favourite campgrounds, and I can sit here, I can choose to come here at a whim. I can sit here and play the music that I want to listen to, eat the food that I want to eat, when I want to eat it. If I don't want to cook, I don't have to. I can just have that freedom to do exactly what I want, when I want. But there's also a cost to that as well. Whilst freedom and peace is an amazing thing, and I have to admit, up till a few months ago, I was still really enjoying that, and I just didn't want to change my life because I was enjoying that so much. And maybe that's because I spent quite a bit of my life doing for others. So when you get that moment to really just focus on self, you can start to get quite selfish and just be like, hey, this is actually pretty good. So yeah, it's been an amazing lifestyle for me, and a number of years just doing exactly what I want, when I want, and I've loved every minute of it. But I have to admit, the last few months, they've really, I don't know, something has shifted for me. Those first 4 years have been just so truly amazing. But I really now, I'm kind of craving community and wanting to share those moments with someone. And I'm just at that point in my life where I think that it is possible to have people there who are in alignment with you and have that same outlook on life that you do, that want the same things out of life that you do. And so it would be amazing to share those moments with someone else. If you're ready for that, you might not be ready for that. And you might just still be on that path of like, amazing, I'm having so much fun on my own. Because it's still amazing on your own, don't get me wrong. But I think, yeah, I think that as human beings, we're meant to be connected and we are meant to share moments with people, because I think we're supposed to be here to feel every emotion, and love is a beautiful emotion. Why would we not want to feel that? So I think that solo van life emotionally definitely has its benefits, because there's a certain amount of freedom with that. But I also think on the flip side, there's still so much beauty in travelling with someone else as well. There's also this sense of empowerment, especially as a female doing this on your own, because I think, my generation in particular is not that far removed from, women being oppressed and, not being seen as good as or equal to, the male gender. And so there's this sense of empowerment when you can go, well, actually, I have two hands, I have two legs, I am still capable of holding a drill or going for a walk on my own or travelling on my own. It's only one generation removed, my parents' generation, that still look at it like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? Whereas I think potentially my generation and lower are more accepting of women travelling on your own. And then there's the physical side of it too. So van life can be quite physically taxing sometimes, because my water tanks, I have to take them out, not every time, but a lot of the time, to fill them up. And they're 20-litre tanks. So, I've got to move everything to get them out, fill them up, and then I've got to carry them back to the van, lift them up, put them in. And, it's good for my, for my muscles. But there's things like that. There's renovations to the van. I've done a lot of stuff to the van that I've done on my own. And, there's certain, nuts and bolts and things that are hard to remove. But, where there's a will, there's a way. I always find a way. So, it can be a little bit taxing physically doing it on your own. And if you are not feeling well either, so there might be days where you're just feeling mentally drained or you're actually feeling physically sick. And so to have someone else there with you would be helpful and handy. But like I said, I've been doing it over 4 years and I've never really been stuck in a situation where I've needed someone else there to do anything for me. I've certainly thought sometimes, gosh, it would be nice to have someone else to fill up my water tanks for me and put them in. But, I think all of those physical challenges are there to make us physically and mentally stronger as well. I think that doing all of those physical movements is actually so beneficial for your physical body. And I'm going to do another video on that as well, because I think movement and weights, I think, is so important, especially into your later years, to stay fit and healthy and strong so you can continue to do this life for a long time. I've got some black cockatoos just over here making some squawking noises, you might hear them. And the other side of the physical is safety. So the reality is that as females, we're just not built the same as men. So, we have that, our natural born predator is the male species, and this is not to talk down men. It's just the way nature is. And so we do have to worry about our safety, and it goes back to that safety in numbers as well. I think that if you're not on your own, then you're less likely to come under attack. But look, I've been doing van life, like I said, over 4 years, and I've never ever had a situation where I have felt unsafe. The only times I've probably thought about it a bit more are when I'm out hiking, because when I'm out hiking, I really am remote and I'm on my own then. And there was a situation, or there's been a couple of times when I've been hiking and I have bumped into single men, and I think I've been pretty lucky that they've been nice men. So it's been okay, but there is that factor you've got to think about as well. But you know, when I'm in campgrounds like this, I tend not to worry too much because I pick campsites that are a little bit removed and away from people, but I kind of feel safe because there are other campsites around. There has been a situation where I did arrive at a campsite and there was no other people there. I was setting up and I was debating whether to stay because I couldn't, my Starlink didn't seem to be working either because of the trees, and this man comes past in his ute and he just drives slowly, very, very slowly past my van, looking at me the whole time without saying a word. So that was very sus to me, so I just packed up and moved. Because, you know, you do just have to think about your physical safety as well. Money is something else you need to think about too, because when you're on your own, you're paying for everything. So if there are fuel spikes, you're covering those costs. If you're staying at a campground or a caravan park, you're paying for those costs. So it would be helpful, you know, if you're traveling with someone, that you can split those costs. For me personally, I've never really worried about it because I work full time, I'm on a good income, so yeah, I've been of the frame of mind that I would rather be happy to take those costs on myself in exchange for the freedom and peace that it provides me. There is also something else that happens when you travel alone. A lot of the times you discover more of yourself. You can find out who you truly are at heart because you are very often alone with your thoughts, and that can be a downside sometimes because sometimes our thoughts can cycle and get out of hand. So you do have to practice mindfulness and just keeping those thoughts in check, keeping yourself busy to try and stop that from happening too. You might not be like me, my thoughts are always racing. So but when you do discover yourself and you find yourself sitting out in nature and just really, really taking it in, and it's like solitude becomes your superpower because you become so much more connected. For me, I have experienced this connection with nature that I have not found in human connection. And it is such a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's this sense of inner peace and connectedness with everything. And it's not until you can spend a lot of time in your own and block out all that noise of day-to-day life that you can finally feel that. I find it funny that traveling has brought me that. Being on the move has brought me that, because you think that you would find that when you're in still. But when you're in still living a normal life in a home, there are so many distractions. There's the TVs, the phones, there's all the white noise, there is constant things to do. So when you've got a home, you've got to work so much harder to pay for things. I don't know, there's a lot of distractions. And I think, you know, when I am home, I do spend more time with family. And so I have this beautiful balance of finding solitude moments, but also finding those connected moments. But I think that when you do the solo travel and you do have a lot of those moments and you find yourself and you connect with nature, yeah, it's a whole new world. So I think that there are many ups and downs to solo van life travel. For me, it's a funny one because I think had I done this video a couple of years ago, I would have raved about traveling on your own a lot more, because I was still in a mode of really enjoying being on my own. But now that I have done it for 4 years, I think I'm ready for something new. And I am probably ready to find more like-minded people to travel with. But in saying that, I will still always need those moments alone, because there is something so magical in that, just to be in the car and hit the road and put on your favourite tunes and just head somewhere you haven't been before. The excitement that comes with that is something else, you know, and to see new places, stumble across new waterfalls, see a flower you haven't seen before, come across an animal in the wild that you haven't seen in the wild before, experience thunderstorms that are just amazing and the lightning, or just to be by a beach where a dolphin pops up and you're just sitting there in silence and peace and awe. So there are upsides and downsides, because it would also be amazing to spend a lot of those moments with somebody else. And you know, you've got those moments to share with someone, and I think that maybe YouTube has been amazing really for me, because I still get to share all those moments with you. So thank you for watching all of those moments with me and spending all of them with me, because I have truly enjoyed sharing them all with you. So here's to many more years sharing experiences together. I hope this video has been helpful. I've tried to be raw and honest as always. But yes, comment below your thoughts and feelings on travelling solo.